Welcome. This is Dylan, creator of KillerWhale Crypto, and joined by Tony, who's one on our team.
How's it going?
We are in sunny Miami, Florida. 7 o'clock p.m. here Eastern time. I know it's different times for everybody because we're all over the place, but...
So good morning or good evening, wherever you're at.
Tony, you want to give them a little rundown on what we're going to go over here?
Yeah, so today what we're going to be talking about in the news is some of the lending platform issues that we've been seeing come up over this last week, which there's been kind of a lot of those. And then also we're going to talk about some details regarding the Chainalysis Web3 report that just came out, I believe actually just a few days ago. Chainalysis, by the way, is one of the largest, or actually it is the largest analytics company. It monitors blockchain, cryptocurrency, pretty much everything in that space, mostly for large institutional investors as well as governments that would like to learn more about crypto. So that's pretty much what these things are written about. And I will go ahead and drop a link in the chat right now. If anyone wants to look over this by themselves as well, you do have to fill out a little bit of information as they're an analytics company.
One of the interesting parts that I thought, was one of the first things they talked about Web3 becoming the path for all companies to eventually be crypto companies. Very similar to the way that the internet started when, now every company has a website. Same sort of thing. It's like most companies will eventually be using blockchain or cryptocurrency or Web3 based applications in some fashion or another. And I think it gave an estimate of within the next 10 years or so. Let's see. Somewhere in here it talks about that.
Which, that's very, very likely. Actually, just yesterday we were at a Web3 development brunch, and, it's very obvious now that not only is there a lot of development in that space, but a lot of the development that's now happening is more centric to making it easier for somebody who's not that familiar with crypto to actually be able to use some of these Web3 applications. And that's, something that we really actually need to see more of before Web3 actually takes the place of Web2.
And in addition to that, we're going to be talking about some different things, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the total chart, which I'll drop some screenshots as we discuss some different things. As many of you know, Voyager was a lending platform and pretty much had to file for bankruptcy. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love to. So actually, it's interesting that happened just so recently after we did our last AMA last Sunday. We were discussing actually some of the problems with crypto lending platforms and particularly Voyager. However, Voyager actually did have to apply for bankruptcy protection recently. On top of that, another similar platform, Celsius, froze all of its transactions across the board, which is, unfortunately, things roll downhill. This is all kind of based off of a loan that was over leveraged by Three Arrows Capital, which is a hedge fund in the Virgin Islands that's facing liquidation. And so, a lot of what we're seeing is literally all just coming from this one particular source, but it's really highlighting, some of the dangers with DeFi loaning.
And in addition to that, there's a lot of platforms out there like, Nexo and Voyager was one, Celsius was one, where they're doing collateralized loans and people are getting liquidated as these, as the cryptocurrency prices fall, and which only causes, more liquidations to happen on top of that. So it's been really a cascade of these lending platforms, having to liquidate people's collateralized funds, which is never a good thing. Basically what happens is they say you need to add more capital or your account will be liquidated after a certain price, and then that price is achieved and their account is liquidated. So then they no longer have any cryptocurrency in that exchange, and also they have defaulted on their loan.
And it's hit a lot of different crypto companies as well, like not just ones that are just involved in loaning, but a lot of companies that have loaned into these platforms have seen the repercussions of this as well. I believe blockchain.com even lost a relatively large amount of money that they were loaning out in the process, loaning to Three Arrows Capital as well. So, it's news sites, pretty much everything across the crypto board. Let's see here.
Is there anything in here that you wanted to touch on particularly?
Yeah, on a lighter note, one of the more interesting things that we were, reading through in this Chainalysis report is the ways that people are actually getting into crypto now. Regardless of, people's opinions on NFTs, they actually are the largest point of entry for most people that are finding cryptocurrency these days, which is actually kind of interesting to me because the way they put it is that it's an easier concept for some people to grasp, but I feel like even just a few years ago NFTs were insanely alienated compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, things like that, and that seems to have kind of switched roles, and now that people are actually participating in the NFT space and they're moving on to using layer 1 cryptos and stuff like that, in kind of the reverse order that they used to.
I'm actually looking at an interesting chart that kind of alludes to that, and I'll drop it in the chat here.
Yeah, this is a great chart. It really shows a lot of the crossover that we're starting to see now between, companies using NFTs and just crypto in general, and where other parts of crypto are actually appearing on this little dot chart.
Yep, so I just dropped in AMA questions. Basically, this chart is explaining how people get into cryptocurrency for the first time as of this particular report. So in addition to that, we wanted to maybe touch on DEXs a little bit, decentralized exchanges, because a lot of these are kind of in danger for the same thing as well. Base staking, they have higher staking and lending yields that they give out, and that is not necessarily conducive to continuation of decentralized exchange format. So there's just a lot of things going on right now that's kind of a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets, not just in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but through the world markets as well.
And it's also important to, look at these as, they really are called cryptocurrency projects for a reason. They are, in a lot of cases, experiments. Some of them more successful than others. And, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, but that's just sort of the evolution of the process. And it is actually probably going to lead towards a lot more use of centralized exchanges, because, they're the ones that actually have the liquidity still. And it might even be the case that it's just a winner-takes-all scenario with which centralized exchanges are actually going to outperform each other, more so based off how many users they have versus like their actual technology that's backing them.
So that's some crypto news as of the last week since we last had an AMA, which we are recording this, by the way, so it will be accessible on YouTube later today. Moving on, I wanted to talk about some Bitcoin analysis. Bitcoin is remaining within an ascending channel and is currently testing the heart line of that channel. I'll drop a picture here in just a second. Found strong support right around the 19 to 19.5K region. This level is also coincides with previous all-time high at approximately 19.7K. We've seen a higher low and a higher high in the past week of price action, which has formed the ascending channel. Many traders I've noticed that I follow have been drawing this as more of a bear flag, except for we've exceeded the time frames of a bear flag, and where they thought it was potentially a breakout, I find more to be of an ascending channel structure. The strongest support for Bitcoin is at the 14 to 16K level from historic breakout of November 2020, as this was the level that the price was suppressed through the entire previous bear market. So I'll drop a screenshot of what I was just talking about in the channel here. Seems like we're going to have probably a little bit shorter of an AMA today since there aren't too many people in. Just looks like the four of us at the moment, but as you can see, the picture in the AMA questions channel, the two arrows at the bottom are basically pointing at the levels that it bounced off of in the 19 to 19.5K region, which is also conducive and coinciding with the 1 level on the Fibonacci extension drawn from the previous cycle top to the low of 2018. Some Ethereum news, or Ethereum analysis rather. Ethereum, however, is definitely formed basically a bear pole, bear flag. But in traditional means of bear pole, bear flag, it would be a descending flag structure or a symmetrical triangle flag structure. And we have actually been forming an ascending flag structure. So basically that means there's a waning level of negative pressure and a higher level of flat and overhead resistance, which is basically right around the $1,200 to $1,300 region for Ethereum. So that's a thing. I'll drop a screenshot of that in chat as well. Let me go through the total chart and I'll tell you about some new features that are coming to Crypto Hopper, possibly even tomorrow, which is pretty exciting. So this is Ethereum, and you can see what I was just talking about, forming a bear pole, bear flag with an ascending triangle structure. Ascending triangles typically have more pressure to the upside as the negative pressure is waning and there's a flat level of resistance over the top. Couple things on the total, actually, which is pretty interesting. So dropping it in the chat. Basically what we're looking at on the total here at the moment is the blue line is the secondary parabolic trend line, and that line has acted as support, which is pretty interesting because that line was drawn in November of 2020 as anchor points all the way back to 2017. And we've basically been forming a parallel channel, not an ascending channel or a descending channel, which is indicative of continued sideways price action until we have pressure to break to either one side or the other. Now, the ascending level of support that is formed by the secondary parabolic trend line has basically been the guiding line for this particular structure. We saw a slight uptick in price across the broader cryptocurrency markets over the past week or so. And then just today saw a rejection off of the top of that parallel channel, which the total chart is the totality of all cryptocurrencies combined. So it's pretty interesting that there's a level of indecision like this right at a historic, support line. In addition to that, the bottom you can see the RSI actually had a descending level of resistance and broke through it to the upside, which can be indicative of price reversal, which is very interesting that it happened right at the secondary parabolic trend line. Could lead to a bit more upside in the short to mid term, but it can definitely remain range bound within this parallel channel for quite some time. That's about it for the TA for the moment, which I'll be making another video for that as well, just the TA stuff. Crypto Hopper is adding the copy hopper feature tomorrow. I believe it should be either tomorrow or next Monday that it comes out. Copy hopper is basically you can copy real traders in their actual accounts and follow exactly what they do, whether that's reserving funds, changing settings, adding or subtracting bots, running AI configurations, pretty much anything you can think of in that regard. But it's basically a more simplified dashboard that the user won't have control over changing their configurations. They'll just be copying professional traders in the marketplace. So KillerWhale will definitely be participating in this as soon as it comes out, which is pretty cool because it takes a lot of the guesswork out for the end user. that may or may not have enough education about how the platform works. So it'll be an easy way for new people to get in, and also experienced people to follow traders that have good track record, and they'll have like real-time stats based on real accounts. So we're really excited for that. What else we got here, Tone? I think we'll open up the floor for questions here in just a moment. If anybody wants to ask a question, you can either raise your hand, which you can do at the bottom of your screen, make a request, or you can just type it into the AMA questions channel, which is right above the AMA stage channel that we have. So I guess we'll open it up to questions.
I think it's important to mention also that, even if you don't have a question like during one of these, you can drop it in that channel at any point as well, and we can always come back through and answer along the way.
And we'll bring Alvin up to the stage.
Hey, good evening, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
How you doing?
Yeah, I was just hopping in. I recently actually, kind of bumped into your, I think, Discord from the marketplace. I was actually considering buying the signal. But, you guys have a great site. I mean, it's definitely easier for me to see what is the one. I'm still new to the trading world. But one thing I wanted to ask is, especially how to identify which signal I should be buying, especially when I don't know where the market could be going. Do I have to kind of choose a particular signal based on the way the market is going? Like if it is in a downtrend, there is a certain type of signal. If there is an uptrend or a sideways, there is a certain type of signal I should be using, or any one of those works. What would you recommend?
So in that regard, it's basically, there's a couple things you want to consider when starting a bot or running a signal service for like the first time. One of those being, what's your account balance? Because that'll determine, like for example, elite signals, we recommend at least 15,000 as like your starting point for that. Whereas, bank robber or premium signals have much lower bars to entry. For example, premium signals, I launch every trade 100% by hand. So it is essentially like copy trading, but it's for macro targets, and we only trade what's on our suggested coin list, which is 73 coins at the moment. So if you want to do more of like a macro kind of setup to where you're basically averaging into different coins with target percentages, that'd be more of a premium kind of thing. Bank robber is mostly for people who are using like the lower subscription levels like Adventure or Explorer, because you can access AI technology and premium indicators through bank robber, even if you have the lower subscriptions by subscribing to the signal. And bank robber, you don't have to have like bank robber and premium, you don't have to have, $15,000 start balance, because, elite signals is a 3-bot configuration. So you're paying 3 different subscription levels to Crypto Hopper, and then, 1 subscription to KillerWhale to basically help you manage those 3 bots. And then of course you get different access levels. Bank robber, you get, access to the Discord just like everybody else. Premium has its own channel because sometimes there needs to be instructions to give to the user. And elite signals has their own, channel as well, where they get VIP support. So just kind of depends. And you can always send me a DM and we can get a little more in depth with what that would look like for you. If you're not, if you do want to discuss it now, we can, or you can just send me a DM and we can set up a meeting as well.
Got it. Okay. So the difference between premium and the bank robbery, premium is 100% copy trading, right? So that's handless signals, correct?
Correct. And they have macro target ranges, and we do a bunch of different things like reserve positions at times, and then also merging and splitting funds. Just depends on what the market's doing. But right now we've basically kind of been laying low, waiting for the dust to settle. Go ahead.
No, I'm not understood. So when you say laying low, approximately how many trades do you take a month right now with the premium signal?
Within the last 3 months, done just over 100 trades. So, that's a low number. We've done all the way up to like 500 trades in 3 months, but that is a across all the supported exchanges. We did add Coinbase Pro, FTX, and FTX US recently. So that is taking into consideration that there's 5 exchanges that we trade on, but we just added FTX, FTX US, and Coinbase just like 2 weeks ago. So that would be, about 99 trades between 3 exchanges. And so that'd be like a lower number of trades. Like I said, we've done all the way up to like 500 trades in a month, in a 3-month period before.
Yeah, and one last question is on that, 100 trades that you took, is there a way I can find out the success ratio on it?
If you go on to, yeah, you can go on to Crypto Hopper's website. Here, I'll drop the link right now. And then on the Signal service itself,
okay,
you can see there's a performance page. Now that's just per each trade. It doesn't tell you, it will tell you what the target ranges were. So here, I'll drop that and I'll drop a picture so you can see where to go. Give me just a second here.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Okay.
So that'd be one way to compare. Other than that, there's for myself, I have the oldest running premium bot because I started it the first day premium signals existed. So I do have metrics in that regard, but I've also added to that account, taken away from that account, reserved positions, taken positions out of reserve. But pretty much for the most part, anytime I do something major, I drop it in. Pretty much every time I do something major, I drop instructions in the premium channel instructions. But we haven't done anything major since maybe earlier this year. So there hasn't really been any major changes besides, doing some different trade executions and things like that, as far as like merging positions and splitting positions. But give me 1 second here. I'll drop the link anyway for anybody else who wants to look at it later. Signals. And we're pretty excited about Copy Hopper. That should be coming out in the next week or so. So that'll be interesting for people to see, how we handle our real accounts as signal providers.
So Copy Hopper would be pretty much like you guys, when you are actually trading, it is going to be this kind of mimicking the exact same thing, right?
Exactly. So it'll be a lot more like a eToro kind of thing than, set up your own bot and configuration. So you'll be able to just copy one of our real accounts, exactly the trades that we execute.
I see.
Which will be nice because a lot of people... Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So, so let's put it like this. So I think I'm kind of zeroing in on either premium signal or the AI, but maybe I'll just put it out to you because you did mention about the fund. So let's say I want to start with maybe first 1,000, but later I want to actually, based on the result, I want to maybe bump it up to 5,000 or 10K, right?
Sure.
Later. So if I were to do that, what service out of all the one that you have would you recommend?
So I always tell people...
target profit of maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5% a month minimum, right? Or even more.
So I always tell people you want to start with like the lowest subscription level and work your way up just to get a hang of how it all works. So I would definitely suggest starting with an Explorer subscription and bank robber signals if that was the direction you want to go. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you know what I mean, to start with. I always just recommend doing that because you can always, it's easier to speed up a bot than it is to slow it down. It's easier to increase your subscription level than to go backwards. So what I have for like my friends and my family, I always tell them start with an Explorer subscription. Start with something easy like Bank Robber where you have AI capabilities, but you don't have to pay the full $100 a month. It's kind of like a cheat code, you know what I mean? So I would definitely, no matter what you're doing, start with the Explorer subscription and either a strategy or a signal or a combination of a strategy and a signal. But you can always send me a DM, and we can kind of go through that a little bit more in depth after we're done with the AMA, of course.
Yeah, no problem. And sorry, what's your name again?
My name is Dylan, and then I have Tony, who's my journalist, here with me as well.
Yeah, how's it going?
So yeah, I'm trying to find out. So okay, so the DM I would be sending would be the KillerWhale crypto itself, right? Okay.
Yeah, number 5232.
Right.
Yes, and
Okay,
then I'm
thanks.
just gonna drop in the channel. Ooh, maybe if I can. There we go. Copy. And this is the link if you want to go to just to see the performance report.
I was so close to buying, and I was like looking at the report, and I was seeing so many reds because of the downtrend, right? So that's the reason I just kind of stopped it, and I'm trying to just use my own indicator, and everything's just playing it around. But so you also mentioned about adding to the strategy. Why would you want to do that? I mean, is there a benefit to that if you kind of combine the strategy with the signal?
There is a benefit to that because you won't. So let's say you're running just a signal, right? And you have the template, which would most likely, if you were using like Bank Robber, for example, would be like a classic template. So you would use the classic template, and then you can modify it to basically, if you have a strategy as well, you can either have that strategy running on specific sets of coins, or you can have the strategy basically using like config pools. I'm not sure how in depth you've been into Crypto Hopper yet, but there is ways you can set specific configurations for specific coins or coin sets. So if you wanted to do something like that, and say you wanted to like use Bank Robber signal, but you also wanted to scalp trade on like Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, you could do both of those at the same time by using config pools and other methods as well. Or you can just run, say you want a dollar cost average, right? As you're running the signal, you can do something like DCA King plus Bank Robber, in which you have a different configuration for your dollar cost average positions versus your positions that come from the signal. So you could set, DCA King to only take profit at like 30%, for example. Whereas if you use Bank Robber, it's going to have targets of like 6.5 to 20% target range.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's an interesting concept. I was not aware of those. I mean, do you guys also have a YouTube channel where you also go into details about how all this kind of suggestions that you just made? I mean, I think this is really valuable to kind of know, how to use those combinations and things like that.
So we are actually in the process of making setup guides for signal strategy combinations. So there will be their own individual setup guides for combinations like Bank Robber plus dollar cost averaging, Bank Robber plus swing trading, Bank Robber plus scalping. So those will be coming out as soon as we get some of these other projects that are a little bit more pressing worked out, such as the bear market templates with triggers to load previous templates versus bear templates, which is a big project we're working on right now, which will automatically trigger between templates as the market trend changes.
I love that. Is that what you get? Okay, so that's exactly what I was actually thinking of. It's like, why do we have to kind of look for the market trends? I mean, is there not a way to actually automatically kind of choose one template versus the other, like based on the market? If it is a sideways, just use one setting, right? If it is uptrend, use one setting. Is that the kind of direction you guys are going as well?
Yes, exactly. So it'll be basically, it'll switch the template from like a bear template to your previous template. So however your bots are running currently, you'll make a template out of that amount, those settings, and then what'll happen after that is you'll download the bear template, enable the bear template, and it'll switch between your two templates whenever the metrics align for it to switch, which basically would be like the metrics would be, you know, a set of moving averages or a set of, you know, RSI based on Bitcoin's price action, because Bitcoin's the market oscillator. So yeah, it'll basically switch your settings automatically in your bot, depending on what the trend is. A lot of moving pieces, but getting pretty darn close on releasing that here shortly.
That's very cool. What's your ETA for this one? When are you targeting to release this?
I was trying to release it last month, but I've been, you know, just really trying to hammer down on the trigger points. And, you know, just have to make sure that when the exact metrics align, that the triggers actually switch the templates and things like that. So it's more about patience and waiting for the metrics to align and switching the actual template and seeing how that configures. So I'd like to say by the end of this month, but it's, you know, it's a little harder when, you know, the trend, you know, say we're like closer to like the bottom of the trend, you know, coming from 65K all the way down to 20K. Just want to make sure that those metrics align and switch the templates properly for each exchange that we offer it for, which is going to be everything that every exchange we offer service for currently. So basically all the classic templates will have matching bear templates. Same with Gain BTC, Gain ETH. Those will have matching bear templates as well to switch the settings as the trend changes. So hopefully it's a little bit more hands off for the user at the end, you know, end of the day.
Got it. Are you guys only working with the Crypto Hopper, or do you guys also have other services?
We only work with Crypto Hopper at the moment. We're exclusive to Crypto Hopper. So we help them improve on features, and we're constantly talking to the higher ups at Crypto Hopper about different features that are coming out. You know, they listen to us about features that we'd like to see. So I'm oftentimes talking with their, you know, general manager about different things in that regard. So then, like I was saying, the copy hopper thing that's coming out, that's gonna be a brand new feature. They're making features for you know, fund managers. So we'll have a fund management solutions here shortly. Yeah, lots of big things going on. There's just a lot to do at Crypto Hopper, so we're exclusive to them at the moment for sure.
Very nice. Okay, good to hear that. Okay, thanks. I think this was definitely helpful. Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Glad to hear from you, my man. Thank you so much. I think that's gonna about do it for the day, friends. We'll definitely be posting a video about this a little later. So have a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. And thanks for joining us. KillerWhale, change the way you trade.